I'm Filippo Nuccio. I'm Associate Professor in Mathematics at the Université Jean Monnet Saint-Étienne. And so I'm mainly a university professor, and well, mathematics has a long history of open science and commitment at open science. I've been working in open science for 10, 12 years or so, and since 3-4 years, no, just 2 years, I'm a correspondent of open science in my university, and that's why I'm here today, because as part of the T4U Alliance, I'm representing the open science part of my university here. Well, I think that open science, at least the way I interpret open science from within the university, is really a matter of opening science for scientists. Not in the sense that it should not be open to other people, but I think there are two different points. One is open science for scientists, and one is what I'd rather call science for all. Dissemination of science, which is a crucial important thing, but it is a different topic in my opinion. There might be overlaps, of course, probably there are overlaps, but at least the way I take it, they are separated issues. And the way I see open science as a working, somehow a politician in my university, and since I try to foster open science policy in my university, is mainly about publications, a cost of publications, and openness of data and openness of publications, so access to publications for colleagues. And then there is the whole topic of science for all, which is extremely important, fundamental for society, but in my opinion is a different thing. Well, I don't know if you can learn something, but they certainly have a very huge common political ground, that is the fact that, after all, huge part of science is produced by people paid by public money. And therefore, scientists, as myself, I have a public salary from a public university, and it is completely reasonable that people held us accountable for what we do. And in a certain sense, they have the right of taking this science back in one sense or another. On the other hand, I also think it's somewhat utopistic to think that every small scientific advance can be benefited directly by anyone, by any citizen. It would be great in a sense, but it's utopistical, as most probably is not what we are aiming at. But so I think that the main contact point is that at the end of the day, money paying us and research in general is public money, and therefore there must be a high level of accountability from our side. And this, I think, touches both open science and science for all. One of the reasons there is a lack of trust, and certainly also a lack of culture, of scientific culture. I can speak about Italy and France and the United Kingdom and Germany, that are the 4 countries I know best, but I think it's a problem spread all over Europe and most probably beyond, is that it's very hard to communicate about science. It's very hard to communicate about science from researchers and from journalists. And therefore, I think that having a center who thinks about it and develops solutions or help or training is fundamental.